Welcome to another Eminence presentation. Eminence is a video series recognizing the outstanding community of diverse leaders who make up Illinois State University's Department of Educational Administration and Foundations. We are pleased to be talking to Teri Lucie Thompson today. She's a graduate of EAF's master's program with a diverse resume that shows her success in several industries. Teri has served as a teacher for the university laboratory schools and as a top marketing executive for both State Farm and Safeco insurance companies. Beginning in 2008, Teri merged the knowledge she had acquired in those two worlds to lift the profile of several universities across the U.S. She's an award-winning higher education marketer and served in VP roles for both Purdue and the University of Arizona. She was later picked to serve the entire University of Texas system as its Chief Marketing Officer and Associate Vice Chancellor for Marketing and Communications. During the pandemic, Teri channeled her talents into advocating for an entirely new population. In August, she co-founded Nextdoor Global. It's an organization dedicated to combating the stigma of ageism in the workforce for those who are age 55 and older. Nextdoor is creating a gig economy that connects retirees with a variety of temporary job opportunities that fill the needs of nonprofits, small businesses, corporations, and even families. They boast a vast network of talented individuals, from zookeepers to accountants. So whether you need help with your taxes or your pet tiger, Nextdoor has someone for you.
So Teri, thank you so much for coming on the broadcast today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, Tommy. Thank you.
Well, if you don't mind, we'll dig into the first question. And that's really just, we know what you've been doing during the pandemic. We know you've been busy, but we wanted to ask, what initiated this desire to start, to co-found Nextdoor Global?
Well, that's a great question, Tommy. And running a startup has always been on my bucket list. Maybe it's because I came from an entrepreneurial family, but it's just something that I've always wanted to do. And so when the opportunity presented itself, I jumped in with both feet. As you kind of indicated in your setup, I'm a really mission-driven person, individual, and I love the fact that what we're doing is something that improves the lives of other people. So when we do well as a business, we're also doing good for people. So it was not only the opportunity to be in a startup, but it was to be in a startup that was helping elevate a population of people that's sometimes overlooked.
Absolutely. And, your resume kind of shows that you're someone who's not afraid to take challenges, but, starting up your own business can be scary for anyone. And I wanted to ask, what gave you the motivation to start this new challenge?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say it's really my partners. And it is really scary. We found ourselves tackling tasks that none of us has done before, right? We had no idea how to do it. But we trust each other and we just allow ourselves to be vulnerable and dig in and get things done. I'm kind of reminded by George Schultz's quote yesterday. George passed away yesterday at the age of 100. And he said, trust is the coin of the realm. And it's been a beautiful thing, the trust that we've built and the way that we've relied on one another. We each bring different strengths and different perspectives to the table. So that helps make it a lot less scary, right? And the question also prompts a flashback for me. I think I grew up on a grain and livestock farm in Illinois, and so I was involved in 4-H. And one of my projects in 4-H was showing cattle. People around here are always surprised when I say that, but anyway, part of that process was you'd get a little calf, right? He would usually weigh about 400 pounds, and then you teach it to lead. And the first time I put a halter on my first calf and began leading it, it took off across a muddy feedlot. And my dad is hollering at me, hang on, Teresa, because apparently if you let go, it's doubly hard to lead it the second time. So I held on a few circles through the mud, and the calf stopped. And I think for me, once you've been through that physical muck, the office muck is not quite as scary, right? And also that farm background brought a level of internal strength and perseverance that I think has served me well and helped make it less scary.
Without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, that sounds like, you've dealt with quite a bit. challenges of all different kinds can prepare you for, life circumstances. And it sounds like you had a unique taste of that early in your life. So that's very cool.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Well, now in your academic career, your master's at EAF, obviously, that was a big stepping stone for you too. How do you believe that degree helped you during your later parts of your career, both in higher education marketing and then of course with Nextdoor?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my answer probably sounds a little trite, but I think it's all about the people. It's the professors, it's my classmates, it's the network. I remember a couple of powerful specific examples. One was Dr. Patricia Class, and I believe she has a scholarship in her name with Dr. Lyman. She assigned us to a biographical essay that asked us to explain what had led us to this point in our careers and our lives. And that shouldn't have been surprising, but at that point in time, I don't think I had really been very reflective and thought intentionally about what prompted me to go in this direction. And it really helped me see patterns and connections that I hadn't seen before. And I think that helped me ask better questions, think more intentionally, both attributes which have served me really well as a leader. The second example is Dr. Wayman. And one of the things he always said was if you read on any given topic for 20 minutes a day, you'd become an expert on that topic. And that was just stunning to me. And it really helped me become a student of whatever work I was doing, whether it was teaching or marketing or building a business. I don't think I've become an expert in anything, but it's helped me be a better learner and I think a better leader.
Yeah. I mean, and going along with that, I mean, your career has never really been about being, going along with the status quo. To what do you attribute your desire to take these calculated shifts, from teaching to insurance marketing and then higher education marketing, now running your own business?
Well, I'm a relentless optimizer. And I'm a little weird in that I love change, unless it's my favorite shade of lipstick that's discontinued. But I really do like change, and I attribute it to my father. He just passed away a few days before Christmas, so his legacy is really on my mind. And one of the stories I told in the eulogy was of him running for the school board of my school district when I was a preteen child. I think I was in about 5th grade. And he and a lot of farmers ran on the platform of keeping all these little rural schools open. And he got elected to the board and he listened to the counter arguments and he realized that, his kids would get a better education and better socialization if the school district were consolidated. And so he kind of changed his vote, which wasn't popular. That caused a majority in the board to vote in favor of consolidation. And suddenly I went from being in a class of 5 students to being in a class of 65 students. And although that sounds really small, it really opened a whole new world for me and made me realize that holding on to what you have isn't always the best path. And sometimes you have to let go to grow. And it also showed me the power of changing your mind, right? Listening and being willing to let go of that status quo.
Outstanding. Well, on behalf of EAF, I definitely want to say we're sorry for your loss. I did not know that about your father, and I know that's really recent that you're getting over that too. So we outstretch our condolences for you and your family as well.
Thank you so much.
Of course, and not to change the light of what you just said a little bit too much, but I did want to ask. You've been a part of EAF's and EAF and ISU's legacy for quite a while, and we've had a chance to have you back here both as a university and a department and a college. You're recognized as the College of Education Hall of Famer not too long ago as well. And we wanted to just ask, what was some of your favorite memories, one or two of them, maybe from as a student and maybe as an alum coming back as well.
Oh, that's a great question. I'd have to say Rites of Spring as a student. And I know it really dates me, especially when I say REO Speedwagon, the Charlie Daniels Spin, and Thin Lizzy were a few of the acts that appeared on the quad during my student days.
The infamy, but for students, and it's famous. That's a just a time no one can really ever take away from the university. It's great.
Just absolutely amazing times. And then I think coming back to campus, it's just the experience of seeing everything from a different lens, right? Reconnecting with people in town. I haven't lived in town for several years, so the times I've been back most recently are times when I've lived, quite a ways away. And so it's always fun to see what's changed on campus, but what stayed the same, and just soaking it all up. I obviously love being on college campuses, and of course, ISU is one of the ones I love the most.
Absolutely awesome. Well, those were all of our questions today, Teri. We really appreciate your time, and we really want to wish you best of luck with Nextdoor Global, and we can't wait to hear what happens with that.
Great. Well, I appreciate your time today, Tommy, and thank you very much.
Thank you.